Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platforms such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, let's quickly take a look at the price here. I want to talk about what I'm seeing on the Bitcoin chart because the MACD on the daily chart is about to flip bullish. Bitcoin currently trading over $111,000. As I've been stating, guys, we're not out of the bull market as yet. I don't believe the blow off top has happened. And I've given various factual data, signals, and much more. This is not about emotions or feelings. We want to be educated about the data and the charts. And what I'm seeing on the chart, once again, guys, is that the MACD is about to flip bullish. So let's see how things play out. We do have to give it time. And of course, expect volatility, expect fake outs, expect that potentially the price could roll over and go test 101,000, right? I'm not saying that is going to happen or guaranteed. I'm just saying it's a scenario. There is a probability of that because we don't have a crystal ball, but we're going to look at the data and look at the macro and see what it's telling us. And I believe it's a bullish scenario here. The Bitcoin monthly chart still shows the bulls are in firm control despite the short-term volatility we're seeing. And here's a very positive sign. Today, the S&P 500 hit a new all-time high. So what have I been telling you guys? Rotation of liquidity. Gold has been correcting, cooling down. Whether that's a local or blow off top, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But all of a sudden, the S&P 500 pops up to a new all-time high, right? And we're starting to see the other stock market indexes like the NASDAQ and the Dow Jones and the Russell and all these things start to wake up. Rotation of liquidity, and we are in a macro bull market for all asset classes. So that's why you're seeing real estate, crypto, stocks, precious metals all hitting new all-time highs. Go look at the past 2 years, the charts, and you'll see it, right? The data. Again, no feelings, no emotions here. I'm repeating myself because people get very emotional about these things. I understand they have money. I understand they want to make money. I understand the volatility bothers people, but I'm emphasizing that so you can start looking at the markets from a data perspective and not be emotional and not be in the roller coaster ride. It will really help as you get more educated about these things, right? So S&P 500 hitting new all-time highs. And guys, we've seen this story before. Crypto is going to follow, right? In addition, global liquidity, which is one of the macro factors that we're looking at, has been a leading indicator that shows we still have room to run here. So if all these assets are following global liquidity, I think we know crypto is going to catch up. Here's something that Crypto Wizard shared, which I thought was very interesting, and it's along the lines of Bitcoin dominance as well as the Russell 2000. So he says, bullish breakout next. A liquidity storm is coming. Bitcoin dominance can sense it. So one of the factors we've been highlighting why the top is not in, Bitcoin dominance has not collapsed like we've seen in the past, right? Where Bitcoin goes on that massive run and then the altcoins follow. So that has not happened as yet. So he adds here, the Russell is trying to break whilst Bitcoin dominance is on the verge of a monthly shooting star. Each time this happens, alts explode. Crisis brings opportunity. So again, the data is showing us this. We're seeing multiple factors still screaming bull market despite the short-term volatility. And obviously we've had some wild swings in the market due to the tariff news, of course. And we continue to see that whales are accumulating despite the short-term volatility and some outflows. The BlackRock Bitcoin ETF, they bought another 976 Bitcoin, and they now hold over 804,000 Bitcoin. So on-chain data, ETF inflows still showing accumulation. Now, today I put out a newsletter covering a lot of this, guys, that what Bitcoin has been doing is testing the resistance levels from December, and it's building support off of that. And we've seen this time and time again. And there's just a strong case, guys, of this bull market continuing. Again, that's not a guarantee. You know, it's about a probability, but I do believe it's the scenario that has the higher probability of playing out. So let's see what the next couple of weeks bring us, because there are some macro factors coming up with the Fed cutting rates, government shutdown ending, Trump and China and the US and China, the tariff situation resolving, and the Fed. We just heard from Jerome Powell last week that they're going to ramp down quantitative tightening. So I believe quantitative easing will be returning sooner than later. And I've often stated the market just needs a signal a dovish signal from the Fed saying, hey, at some point, let's say in early 2026, we're going to go back to money printing, right? And we know they don't call it money printing, they call it quantitative easing. That's all the market needs to know, right? Markets are forward looking. And in addition, you have the crypto market structure bill. That would be a huge milestone if it passes the Senate this quarter, and I believe it will. There's a lot of meetings happening in DC with the crypto industry, the crypto lobby. We just heard from White House crypto czar David Sachs saying there's a strong possibility it gets done. And I think it will, guys. I think once the government opens up and the government goes back to getting their work done, right, they're going to be able to push this bill through. So there's also the SEC approving the altcoin ETF. So all these things are on the horizon. So in addition to the data points and the signals and the metrics, make me believe that this bull market's not over. I hope you understand that's not an emotional take. Yes, I want to make money, but I'm also not a fool. If I see something that is detrimental to the market or invalidates all of this, I'm going to be here, guys. It's over, right? Something is completely different. Let's see what our new strategy is going to be, but that's not what I'm seeing. Just like I was telling you guys earlier this year with the big tariff sell-off and crash, I was like, this is not the end of the bull market. Even though people were screaming at me, it's over. Look at what's happening. Trump did this, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, no, the data is just telling me here that despite this being a severe sell-off and a lot of fear, this structure is still in place, right? So this is why, folks, I am not bearish. I am not worried. If there was something to be worried about, I'll be on it here telling you guys. And I've often stated there will come a point where I will turn bearish when this market tops out. So just be ready for that day. But today is not that day. All right, folks, this episode is brought to you by VeChain, which is one of the top layer one enterprise blockchains out there. VeChain is working with many brands and companies around the world to build Web3 technology. Some of the key features of the VeChain blockchain includes it's secure, affordable, scalable, fast, and sustainable. Some of the brands working with VeChain include Boston Consulting Group, Givenchy, PwC, Walmart China, BMW, and many more. They are also partnered with Dana White and the UFC, doing some really cool things. Dana White recently said he bought like $1 million in the VET token. I'm a VET token holder as well. I have been since 2018. And VeChain also recently added staking via Stargate. So lots of great things happening with this blockchain and ecosystem. So if you'd like to learn more, go to vchain.org. The link will be in the description. Now, folks, we have some very big news coming out from Bloomberg. Here's the headline: JPMorgan to allow clients to pledge Bitcoin and Ether as collateral. So JPMorgan continues to capitulate. This is the final boss. Remember all the things Jamie Dimon has been saying over the years and they've been doing, and now they're launching services around crypto. They are tokenizing. They're doing so much, and it's amazing. This is why the saying goes, watch what they do, not what they say. So Jamie Dimon's been playing the smoke and mirrors moves for years, fooling retail while he's been building and taking a position, and all of Wall Street's here. So let me give you some more details here. So investment banking giant JPMorgan Chase plans to let institutional clients use their Bitcoin and Ether holdings as collateral for loans by year end. According to a report by Bloomberg, the tokens pledged under the global program will be safeguarded by a third-party custodian and extends JPMorgan's earlier move to accept crypto-linked ETFs as loan collateral. Huge news, guys, and we know they're going to go beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum. It usually starts with Bitcoin or ETH, and then it expands to other coins. Now, what's going to be interesting, I think we are in the early stages of these crypto assets being used as collateral. Eventually, if you hold crypto, you will be able to use it to get loans as well, whether it's for a mortgage or a car loan or whatever it is. So I think that's down the road, right? I think we can see the direction the puck's heading in here. So very bullish news, and expect the other Wall Street players to do the same. Game theory will play out here. Now, speaking of banks, look at this. Zelle weighs stablecoin integration to expand its trillion-dollar payments network abroad. Everybody's building and adopting with crypto. And folks, there are still people out there who think this is all a scam. They don't get it because they haven't gotten past narratives. They haven't gotten to the facts yet. They haven't educated themselves. So if you are here and you understand what the hell is happening, consider yourself lucky, because we're seeing the biggest institutions in the world adopting this technology. So, widely used US payment network Zelle is eyeing an international expansion utilizing stablecoin technology, according to a statement from Friday. Here's a quote: Zelle transformed how Americans send money at home. Now we're beginning to work to bring the same level of speed and reliability to Zelle customers sending money to and from the United States. Early Warning Services CEO Cameron Fowler said, "Our goal is to bring the trust, speed, and convenience of Zelle to consumers' international money movement needs." Early Warning Services operates Zelle. The company said this initiative, which is scant on details, marks an important step in expanding the reach of Zelle globally by leveraging stablecoins. Zelle has been exploring issuing its own stablecoin. So, folks, we know the benefits of blockchain and stablecoins, instant settlement, 24/7 trading, the ability to do these things, more trust, more transparency, borderless. You guys know the benefits, right? So that's why these companies are capitulating, because the old system can't compete. So they have to build with this technology. This is the future. Now, more bank news. Sygnum Bank bets on Bitcoin lending with multi-sign custody model. So these banks and institutions are coming up with new financial products here. Sygnum Bank has partnered with Bitcoin-backed lending platform defi, never heard of that, to launch a multi-signature lending product that allows borrowers to retain shared control of their collateral. According to the Swiss Digital Asset Bank's announcement on Friday, the product introduces a Bitcoin native multi-sign lending model that allows clients to retain control of their collateral through distributed key management, ensuring that the assets cannot be rehypothecated. Sygnum's clients can take out fiat loans backed by Bitcoin in a setup that requires 3 of 5 key holders to authorize any transaction, allowing borrowers to track and verify their collateral directly on chain. So I love that they can still have access, right? The control is split up here. So I like this model. You know, what JP Morgan, you know, in the news I just shared, and look, it's maybe too early to criticize JP Morgan, but I hope JP Morgan does this where you don't, you know, lose complete control of your collateral here, your assets. So let's see what they're able to come up with. But what Sygnum is doing is really, really cool. So guys, notice they're starting with Bitcoin. Again, it's going to go beyond Bitcoin. So there's more to come here, folks. This is really, really big news. Now, today, the folks at Ripple confirmed that they have completed their acquisition of Hidden Road, which is a massive, huge acquisition for Ripple, right? If you understand what Hidden Road does. And so they said here, introducing Ripple Prime, we're pleased to share that our acquisition of Hidden Road is officially complete, making Ripple the first crypto company to own and operate a global multi-asset prime broker, bringing the promise of digital assets to institutional customers at scale. We knew this was happening, right? Because the news of the acquisition was announced months ago. But what Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse said today is very bullish for XRP. He said, with today's close of Hidden Road and now Ripple Prime, Ripple has announced 5 major acquisitions in approximately 2 years. G Treasury last week, Rail in August, Standard Custody in 2024, Medico in 2023. As we continue to build solutions towards enabling an internet of value, I'm reminding you that XRP sits in the center of everything Ripple does. Lock in. Very bullish. This is huge, guys. And you know, they're going to push for the use of the XRP ledger and have folks build on the XRP ledger, use XRP where it makes sense. I know there's some people who get very confused. They think, oh, everybody has to use XRP. No, they simply just have to use the XRP ledger because that gives the network more value. And of course, it's native token. This is Metcalfe's law, Reed's law as well, network effects. And I've talked a lot about this. You know, you look at Ethereum, the amount of building that was happening. It's not that people are using ETH itself, but as they're using the network, ETH gets greased, so to speak. You know, its value goes up, the network goes up, right? The more participants, yada, yada. So study Metcalfe's law, network effects, and you understand what I'm talking about here. So these folks don't have to use XRP directly, but I do believe they have to use the XRP ledger. That's the point. It's a network, participate on it, more value that's moving, the higher the valuation of the said blockchain network, and of course, its native token. So this is really big and great to see Brad giving the details here. All right, let's move ahead. Trump to nominate SEC's pro crypto Mike Selig as CFTC chair. So, things fell through with Brian Content, but we got another pro crypto person that's going to be heading up the CFTC as the chair. So I think this one should go through. Right now, Caroline Pham, who's the acting chair, has been doing a great job with the crypto sprint and much more. So let's see if he can get confirmed sooner than later. But here's some details. Selig currently serves as the SEC Commission's Crypto Task Force Chief Counsel and Senior Advisor to SEC Chair Paul Atkins. So you can't get more pro crypto than that, right? So he knows everything that's going on already. So it's not like he has to be brought up to speed. So I think this is a solid pick. Moving ahead, Rumble, the video platform, partners with Tether to add Bitcoin tips for content creators. Now, I personally do use Rumble to publish my content. There's not a huge following there. The majority of the following is on YouTube, of course. But, I do use Rumble because I know there's an audience there. So this is really great, though. This is real world adoption of crypto. So Rumble has teamed up with stablecoin insured Tether to enable Bitcoin tipping. CEO Chris Pawlowski said on stage at the Plan B Forum in Lugano, Switzerland. So he says, right now we're in the testing phase, but we're going to start rolling that out alongside Tether here in the coming weeks. So gotta love it, guys. This is real world adoption here, and you're going to see more and more platforms adopt crypto in different ways. Now, look at this. Thai regulators raid World Iris scanning site in latest headache for Sam Altman. So this is talking about the WorldCoin, and you guys know how I feel about WorldCoin, right? I like the mission, but the way they're going about it with the draconian iris scan, that is not, I'm not a fan of that, right? I've spoken about it a lot, and that's my personal feelings. You don't have to agree with me, but I don't like that. And one of the things I said was, where is the independent audit to say they're not doing anything nefarious or bad or violating your rights with the data they're collecting? Because if they're collecting your biometrics and they're doing this in different countries and people are getting coins, what are they doing with that data, right? These are things that have me worried, and why I've not personally, invested in the token. Look, it may do well. I'm not saying it won't, but I don't, I need more information here. And I've been on record saying that, right? You guys know that, who've been following me on this podcast. I've said, I don't like that. And I said the governments, a lot of them are going to push back. And Thailand Securities and Exchange Commission conducted a joint operation with Cybercrime Investigation Bureau to raid an iris scanning location related to the WLD exchange services. So let's see what happens. I think a lot of governments are going to push back because you're taking people's data and nobody knows where it's going. I'm not saying they're doing something bad with it, but we just don't have that clarity, right? Is it truly encrypted on the blockchain, or is someone at WorldCoin able to pull that data and do nefarious things with it, right? Who can answer that question? And I would love someone, I would try to get someone from WorldCoin on the pod to talk about it, but I've not seen this concern addressed completely. And I said, and again, needs an independent auditor to review this. Anyway, folks, I digress. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button. If you appreciate this content, please support the podcast by subscribing to my free email newsletter. It's 100% free. As mentioned earlier, I put out a write-up today, so check it out, guys. Packed with a lot of information. Again, it's free. Doesn't cost you anything. And check out my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital, and my course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that teaches you everything about crypto. Folks, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.